What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 17th day of March, and here we are sitting just below 0.006 cents with roughly 10 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the price action. So, this is the lowest price that we've seen since our high 2 days ago, right there at about 668. What was the high? It was at, 668. And originally, my thought was we don't want to go below this high. I explained why it's completely fine and even acceptable to be at these areas, right? The reason why is we're dealing with something with less liquidity, less volume, a lower market cap. The rules are going to be a little bit more flexible, right? It's not so rigid. Um, it's not a bad idea to keep your rules rigid. If you want to keep your rules rigid for everything and make no exceptions, that's fine. And it might even be a safer way to do analysis. I like to be a little bit more versatile. Sometimes that bites me in the ass. Sometimes that helps me not freak out in a moment that's really not appropriate to freak out on, right? Like for example, this moment here, yes, we're below this high, but really, are we just finding support at prior resistance? That's what it seems like to me. We've got Goliath coming online on the 27th. I don't take this as a fake out, at least not yet, right? We're not seeing any kind of volume come in on the downside. I mean, not it's not that it's completely absent, but it's just nothing that really generates fear within me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. The reality of the matter is, guys, we could come down all the way. This could be a fake out, and we could still be holding higher lows and still working our way up higher, right? We've got this very nice kind of parabolic shape forming here. As long as we're holding higher lows, we're okay. Now, ideally, I wouldn't want to see this. Ideally, we're going to find support somewhere in this area where we found resistance before and continue to move up. That's the ideal scenario. But if this happens, it's not the end of the world, okay? And actually, I was looking at something real quick. This might scare some of you. This might give you a little reason to believe that the non-ideal situation might happen. But we look at the 1 hour time frame here. We do have a gap down here. There is a gap on the 1 hour time frame, and the gaps themselves are not crystal balls. They're not. We're all aware of the CME gaps, but there are gaps that don't get filled. There's even gaps here on the 1 hour Coinbase chart that doesn't get filled, but they typically do get filled. So this could be somewhat of somewhat of a sign that we are working our way back down here, all the way down to 0052, 005 itself, and this would still be a higher low. As long as we're holding higher lows, it's fine. I'm with you. That doesn't sound fun. I'd rather not. Why not? Just bounce here and continue to run. But this was something that I noticed, and I'm a little bit superstitious with these gaps because they do have a odd way of working out sometimes, even whenever they seem like, we're so far away that wouldn't happen. On that note of making it not seem likely, this really does seem like a bull flag to me. I was getting excited here that we'd break out, but we didn't. Here we are moving down lower. We picked up a little bit of volume on this drop, and that's fair, but nothing too crazy. There's definitely a lot more volume to the upside. Again, OnyxCoin showing that it really is easy for it to move up. It's a lot more difficult for it to move down. It takes a lot more time and a lot more effort to move down, and there's just really a lot less interest in seeing that endeavor come to play. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Looking at this here with our indicator, the RSI certainly is bearish here. I wouldn't be surprised if we came lower. I mean, just looking at this right now, I'm thinking that we're in a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. We probably get into the oversold zone, and we start to recover and move up higher. Yeah. The stochastics are in trouble a little bit. The MACD actually has a little bit of bullish divergence, but I'm not too excited with the MACD. I don't know. It just crossed below the zero. You know what I mean? It's not that exciting. 4 hour time frame here. You haven't broken this structure yet. You are right at the point where you basically want to hold. Right at the 50, right at this area. I think we were talking about that yesterday, even coming down and finding support here. So if we find support here, that's great. Support here is not enough. What I'd like to see, if we are to get the ideal scenario, which is that we find support here and move up higher, we need to break out of this trend. We need to break out of this potential bull flag. And with that, I think seeing prices at 006 or higher on a 4 hour closing basis is more than sufficient to get excited. So, and ideally today or tomorrow. As long as we get above 006, I think we do absolve ourselves of going down here to this 005, 0052 area. But if not, it's completely possible that we do go down there and then that we do recover. We can make our way all the way down here and still pump to higher prices before the 27th, right? Here we are on the 4-hour time frame. Even if it takes longer than that, guess what, guys? Here's the 25th, right? We can still pump going into Goliath. It's volatility is the name of the game, and if Bitcoin's moving down, OnyxCoin's going to have a harder time moving up. Somebody said if Bitcoin's moving down, won't OnyxCoin move down too? That's a good kind of rule of thumb to have, but not always. We've seen OnyxCoin pump while Bitcoin is dumping, or while it's being stagnant, while it's moving down. We've seen OnyxCoin dump while Bitcoin's pumping. You know, it's not so cut and dry as it just follows Bitcoin, right? A good bit of the time that might be true, but not always. And with this news-driven event, things might be a little bit different, you know. Looking at this here on the 4-hour, the RSI, again, if we find support here, that's great. The stochastics, I mean, finding support here would be pretty good too, honestly. Wouldn't be a bad thing. And the MACD's bullish overall. I mean, with the MACD, again, we can afford to come down. We can still bounce off that zero, so we can form a higher low here with our oscillators, right? It just depends. I'm not bearish on the MACD, but I'm not really getting a whole lot off it. I feel like it's the least helpful. The stochastics and even the RSI are okay with us going a little bit lower, but I would say that if we go, I mean, really, if we see a 4-hour close below 0.0569, I think at that point we should expect prices below 0.052. Okay, 0.0569, we're at 0.0578. It's not that far away. That's kind of the line in the sand that I'm going to have for a bearish implication, okay? 0.06, on the other hand, which is also not that far away, would be the line in the sand for the bullish implication to take over. And ideally, when we move up, we want to see good volume come in. It doesn't have to be this much. I mean, more is better, of course, but as long as volume's picking up, it can be lower volume, but as long as volume is picking up relative to this consolidation range, that's okay. Okay. Daily time frame, looking at this. In and out of the overbought zone. It's not exactly what we wanted to see. Looks like that's what we're getting though. I mean, it depends. You know, by the end of the day, we really could move up higher. We are at a point where we could bounce, but it doesn't even have to be by the end of the day that we're up above this area that we're back in the overbought zone. So kind of in a wait and see moment here. Daily MACD starting to cross above the zero, which is really exciting. If we reject the zero, there's one of two paths that we can take. One, we kind of consolidate, maybe just below it, maybe just above it, and then we start to rally afterwards. Or two, this is a formal rejection, and we might come back down to this area here and retest some higher lows, right? That's what we would like to see. In the worst case scenario is that we still maintain higher lows. It's okay if we go below 0.05. I wouldn't want to see that. That's not the call that I'm making, but it's okay if we do. It wouldn't be ideal really to go below like 0.046. I don't really think there's anything else to say, guys. I think we've said everything that needs to be said. Even if this Adam and Eve pattern doesn't work out, we're still in this grand double bottom, rounded bottom kind of structure, which has serious, very serious implications to it. We're just finding resistance where we found resistance before back here, and a little bit of support as well. So whatever, you know, we can do this. We can stay in this range a little bit longer and then try again maybe at the end of the month or even going into April. We can try again for something that's higher. Yes, even after Goliath happens. Sometimes it's how it is with these mainnet launches. You wait to see if the product works, if it's usable, if it's just not a piece of crap. As long as it's any of those things and not one of those things, we should, you know, see some continued growth afterwards. I've seen it enough times. A lot of people, myself included, over the years in crypto, with mainnets launching across various chains, various projects, we expect them to be sell the news events, and they typically are, but oftentimes you see immediate continued growth within a week or two, or even days, or maybe it's a little bit longer afterwards, because the main net went off without a hitch, right? The initial selling pressure is the sell the news event. The secondary selling pressure is if it doesn't go off without a hitch, if there are issues, complications. But if there's not, that the market receives that positively, and we continue to rally. So, and just because that's happened before doesn't mean it has to happen now. You know, Bitcoin is king. If Bitcoin's dropping 20% in a day, it's going to be really hard to be bullish on really anything. So anything can happen, but I'm not expecting Bitcoin to drop 20%. I'm not expecting lower lows for OnyxCoin. I am expecting that we recover and that we will see higher prices. I'm thoroughly expecting that we're on a path right now that will take us up to 2 cents, 2.5 cents, somewhere in that area. You know, it's just, I don't want to be I don't want to be exuberant with my excitement. I want to stay level-headed as I can, and then we can get crazy excited up here, right? We can pop our champagne up there. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Be patient. Just be patient, okay? It's not fun being teased, but we are forming good structure. And not just here, guys. It's not just here that we're forming good structure. It's here, right? Like this is really good stuff. This is really, really good stuff. And not to mention, from the low to the high here, this is your golden ratio retracement as well. Right? For the people who don't believe me, but I'm assuming that a lot of you have already seen this, right? Low to high, golden ratio support. So, I mean, theoretically, we return up here, we should be moving up to this 236 area, or even the 069 area. That's a big range. I'm not going for this personally. I think we'll get there. I think we'll see higher prices in time. I'm more thinking somewhere closer to 2 cents. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.